All right, everybody. How's it going? Welcome to the November 11th live chat. We've got an exciting live chat coming up for you. We've got a bunch of Viterbi engineers here to help answer some of your questions about student life here at USC. So with that, we're just going to go ahead and dive right into the questions. First question that we got was, what made you want to become an engineer? So with that, we're going to get started with Chandler. Why don't you introduce yourself, Chandler?
Hi, my name is Chandler. I'm a junior studying computer science here at USC. Within engineering, I'm the president of Women in Computing. I'm in a couple of computer science groups. This last summer I had an internship at Microsoft, where I'll be returning next summer, and I will be studying abroad in London in the spring. So what made me want to be an engineer? Well, in high school I knew I loved math and science. I knew I wanted to do something in engineering, and one of the most appealing factors of USC was that I could change my mind, and I wouldn't really be penalized if I didn't make up my mind until junior, maybe even senior year. So I took some physics in high school, I took some calculus, I really liked the engineer's salary when you come out of college, so all those things kind of sent me in that direction.
All right. Thanks, Chandler. We're coming at you, Lauren, next. Lauren, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us why you chose engineering?
Alright, hi everybody, my name's Lauren, and as you can see on the bottom of my screen, I'm a senior studying mechanical engineering. On campus, I'm the vice president of a social sorority. I'm also involved in a group that plans E-Week every year. I've also been involved with the Christian organization and worked at the bookstore. The reasons why I've wanted to become an engineer is because, first of all, a lot of the reasons, like Chandler said, but also because my high school, I took a lot of physics, and I really loved it, and I kind of saw myself doing something like that in the future, and it seemed really challenging, and it's something that I could definitely see myself doing. Not to mention there's really cool projects.
Awesome. We're coming at you next, Lyssa. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey guys, I'm Lyssa. I'm a sophomore studying chemical engineering on campus. I'm on the executive board for the American Institute of Chemical Engineers. I'm involved in Greek life. I'm also a freshman academy coach, which the freshman academy class is a seminar program for incoming freshmen. And I'm also involved with research on campus. I chose to become an engineer because, like Chandler said, I was really interested in math and science in high school. And I chose chemical specifically. I've always loved mixing things together and cooking and baking. And so that kind of all seemed to point to chemistry. And I've really liked it so far.
Cool. Next, we're going to you, Rob.
Hey, I'm Rob. I'm a junior in computer engineering, computer science from Newport Beach, California. I'm in the electrical engineering and AI clubs here at USC. I'm also involved in my own research project in the field of computer security. I'm the president of a social fraternity, and I'm helping my friend work on a startup, and will be interning at Microsoft this coming summer. I became an engineer because I really wanted to have an impact on the world, and I had the excellent opportunity of taking AP Computer Science and AP Physics E&M my senior year of high school, and I really loved both those classes, and computer engineering was a great way of combining both of those.
Awesome. Thanks, Rob. And my name's Gavin. I'm a junior studying astronautical engineering, and on campus I'm involved in research. I'm a member of Greek life, and I'm involved in the Stevens Institute for Innovation, which is a center for entrepreneurship on campus. And I became an engineer for a lot of the same reasons that everyone else has mentioned. You know, took physics and a lot of those courses in high school, and just said, I want to apply this. I want to do something that that is maybe a little more hands-on and would just allow me to build things. So I thought building rockets would be cool. So anyway, we're going to head on into the next question. Next question is coming at us from Timothy, and it says, how big are the classes for freshman and sophomore engineering majors and students or professors? So Rob, why don't you tell us a little bit about classes?
So it varies a little class to class. I can say from my freshman year, the general education classes I always took, there'd be a bit larger lecture, maybe 100 people, but then we would split up with small discussions sections with TAs. The engineering courses I always found, I had classes of about anywhere from 30 to 50. They were always taught by professors that I was able to build a great relationship with, and I remember specifically my sophomore year class CS 201 was with a professor that was there for lecturing, and he was from industry, and he was just provided a great learning experience.
Awesome. Lyssa, what's been your experience with classes?
I agree with Rob. It varies from class to class. For example, your freshman writing class has only 15 to 20 students in it. Sounds really small, and you get a lot of personalized attention. Things like your general chemistry class and physics are going to be a little larger because so many students have to take them. My physics class is about 150 probably, but one of the reasons I chose USC was that I sat in on a class here, and I really felt that the professor lectured to the students, and even though you're in a large lecture, you still have a great relationship with your professors, and they really like encourage questions, and it's very open still. So even though there's larger questions or larger classes, like you can still build a relationship with your professors, and every class is still taught by professors.
Awesome, cool. We're gonna move on into the next question here, and it's coming at us from Carolina, and she asks, what classes are required for engineering students freshman year? So Lauren, why don't you tell us a little bit about the classes that you took freshman year?
All right, so it definitely depends a little bit about what your major is. So freshman year, I started out undeclared engineering, so I took the undeclared engineers class as well as a freshman academy class, which all freshmen take. I also took math, and I started taking physics my second semester, but it definitely depends on what your major is.
Awesome. Lyssa, why don't you tell them a little bit about Freshman Academy?
The Freshman Academy class is a class that every freshman takes their first semester. It's a 2-unit class, and it's kind of an introduction to what engineering is and like how engineering plays out in the world. You're in a class with students from all engineering disciplines, and you have a professor that's not necessarily from your discipline. So that's really cool, and you get to build a really close relationship with them. And it's about learning what role engineers play in the world more so. And you also get 2 upperclassmen coaches, which is what I'm working as this year, who plan events to get you acclimated to living in Los Angeles, and they're there as great resources to learn about all the opportunities on campus.
Cool. Chandler, why don't you tell us a little bit about the classes that you took your freshman year?
Well, my freshman year, like Lauren said, it all depends on your major and how many credits you came in with. I did really well on my AP Calculus test, so I started in Calculus 3. I jumped right into Spanish. I took a really fun GE about the origins of humanity, which I called my monkey class all semester. And then I also took, I believe, Writing 140 was the writing class for all the freshmen, which goes with your GE, and then Freshman Academy, which is the fun class Lyssa and Lauren just talked about.
Awesome. So that pretty much covers that. We're going to head on into the next question here. And the next question is coming at us from Sarah. And Sarah wants to know, did any of us have a tough time choosing our majors? How did we decide specifically within engineering what we were going to be studying? So, Rob, let's start with you. How did you pick your major?
So, as I mentioned in my little intro, I feel like I'm kind of in the minority. I kind of already knew what I wanted to do. I was a little bit undecided in that I had tried an AP Computer Science class my senior year. I'd really liked that, and I really, really enjoyed that. I had some other passions I was kind of considering too, including international relations. But I kind of had an idea of I wanted to do engineering. I actually did come in as a computer science business administration major offered from Viterbi. But actually, by the time I had come to orientation, I'd already changed my mind and decided I wanted to get the hardware aspect in there. So I actually, at orientation, they asked, hey, has anyone changed their minds? I got a little form, filled it out right there, gave it to my advisor, and boom, I had changed.
Cool. Lauren, what was your process on picking your major?
I actually had quite a long process. I didn't know what I wanted to study, so I came in undeclared engineering. I thought maybe aerospace, but I didn't want to lock into anything. So that's kind of why I did undeclared. For a while, I wasn't really sure, but that class really helped me because you got to hear guest lectures from just a variety of fields and talk to different professors. So in order to decide, I talked to upperclassmen, thought what projects sounded cool. I thought B&E with a mechanical emphasis, it's biomedical engineering, that would really be helpful, but I ended up having a mechanical emphasis with that, and then I really loved the physics classes way more than the chemistry and the biology, and which is how I ended up with mechanical.
Awesome. How about you, Chandler?
Well, I really had no idea. My way of deciding was to apply to a different major at every school, but that was just me. It's my way of letting someone else decide. So I applied pre-med somewhere and pre-law somewhere. There was some other engineering in there, but I ended up coming to USC. Like I mentioned, one for the flexibility of being able to decide later, and also because their engineering program was top-notch. Plus, I love LA and everything it has to offer.
Awesome. Speaking of LA, our next question, that segues perfectly. Our next question is, what's it like living in a big city? Do students go off campus a lot? Is there shopping close by? Is there safe public transportation? So Chandler, I'm just going to hand it back to you. What's it like living in LA?
Well, it's awesome. I'm 20 minutes from a beach. I'm an hour from snow. I'm like 30 seconds outside from the most gorgeous weather in the United States, I swear. It's just a great city. It's super fun. There's a free shuttle every weekend downtown if you want to go to restaurants or go bowling or do something fun. A lot of my friends have cars and can take me places. I do have my car on campus now, but I didn't need one. I still don't need one. I really only use for recreational purposes. But there's just a lot to do, a lot to explore. Hollywood is close. Like I mentioned, the beaches are super close. One of my friends went to the Getty today just because she could. There's just, I don't know, there's plenty to do, and like 90% of it is free. Except for transportation, everything else is awesome.
Awesome. Lyssa, we're coming at you next. What's it like living in LA?
I love living in LA. I'm from Orange County, so I'm only 45 minutes from home. And so I know my way around LA pretty well, so that's been really helpful. One of my favorite things to do is try new restaurants. So pretty much every weekend, me and my friends go off campus and try somewhere new to eat, which is super fun. There's so much to do. Like Chandler said, the beach is 20 minutes that way, and the snow is an hour that way, which is super flexible. The weather is the greatest thing in the world. I probably would have died if I moved to the East Coast because I've lived at the beach my entire life, and 70 is cold to me. But I absolutely love it. I love the size of the city. Everything's so close. I'm fortunate enough to have my car, but I have a lot of friends who use public transportation all the time too, so it goes either way.
Cool. We're gonna move on to the next question here, and this is coming at us from Yasmin. And Yasmin asked, "Is it hard to have a social life while being an engineering student?" So this is definitely a question that we get a lot. So I'm going to hand this over to you, Rob. What are your opinions on it?
I actually that's something that I've always felt is a really strong point about being at USC. First of all the engineers I've met are so social. I have a big group of friends just in engineering, in the clubs I've been in, people I've met in engineering freshman academy. Of course, you've always got football in the fall. The school is really big on that. You meet so many people and hang out with so many people through that. Also, I joined a fraternity my first semester here. It's not for everyone, but I've loved it so much. I'm actually the president of my social fraternity right now, and that kind of emphasizes how involved I can be in that social organization. And I do all that while balancing my engineering courses. In fact, I kind of like to highlight the more social life you have, the better, because you have so many engineers to rely on. You have more friends to rely on for support. It's definitely something that I think is a very big, successful part of many engineers' lives here at USC.
Awesome. Lauren, what do you think? How hard has it been having a social life here?
It's so doable. It's gotten a little bit harder junior year and senior year just because classes get harder, but I've also been a lot more interested in them these last 2 years. But freshman and sophomore year, I definitely had a lot of time to it's all about time management though, but I had a lot of time to join organizations and make a lot of friends. Being a bit my dorm freshman year made that super easy too, because I had so many friends on my hallway. That was perfect. But even just time, I would spend like most of my weekends having fun, doing homework, of course, but it was definitely possible.
Awesome. Chandler, what are your thoughts?
About a social life, it's it's easy. I think USC does a great job of finding students that value academics as much as they value having a social life. No one wants to sit in the computer lab all weekend, although at some point you might have to. There's plenty of ways for a social life, especially freshman year, like Lauren mentioned. The freshman dorms are very social. Their RAs plan a bunch of really fun events. My RA took us to Disneyland. He took us to the Harry Potter premiere, out to dinner, and it was more the RA just paying for things that we would have done with each other anyways, which was so fun. I ate with all of my my hallmates. We were all super close. So even just outside of like getting involved and being in student org groups or like joining Greek or joining Helene's or some other student org, just your freshman dorm is such a social place. So
Cool. Thanks, Chandler. So we're going to head into the next question. And this is definitely a question that that again we get a lot concerning classes, and that is how easy is it to get the classes that you want or need, and are there enough sections? So let's start off with Lyssa. Have you ever not been able to get a section? Let's hear your thoughts.
I haven't had any problems trying to get the sections of classes I want. There's definitely plenty of places in the classes you need. They open as many spaces as students want to take the class, especially for your engineering classes, because they know that you have to get those classes out of the way before you can take the next level. So really accommodating with that. You might not necessarily get the GE you want, the one that sounds the most interesting, but for the most part, it's pretty much everything's open.
Awesome. Rob, how about you?
I actually had a personal experience with this one. My freshman year, second semester, there was the second CS course, and it started out only having one class offered, and then when I went to register, I'd seen they'd actually changed it to two different courses being offered. So they'd actually pretty much doubled the amount of the course they'd been offering. So that was great. Also, last semester, I was enrolled in algorithms, and it was at a bad time for everyone, and enough people emailed the counselor that they actually changed the day so that they could accommodate more people. So, yes, I definitely feel like I've been able to get every class I've wanted and needed.
Cool. Lauren, how about you?
Yeah, I've never had an issue. In fact, for next spring, they have so many sections offered for my various classes that I'm pretty sure I only have class 3 days a week. So, that's pretty cool. But yeah, generally it's all been, really easy.
Awesome. And just for everyone out there, it is USC's policy. You will never, not be able to get a class you need. That's not going to be something that prevents you from graduating on time. Certainly if you want calculus at 11 a.m. instead of maybe 8 a.m., the 11 a.m. section might fill up first. So if you register later, that you might be waking up a little earlier. But other than that, you will never have a problem getting the classes that you need to graduate. So that's something that's definitely really cool about USC. So with that, we're going to head on into our next question, and this one's coming at us from Twitter. And this question is, do you think that you get to take enough liberal arts classes aside from engineering classes? And so I'm going to hand this one off to Lyssa.
I forgot to mention this in my intro, but I'm pursuing a minor in art history. I took AP history my senior year of high school, and it was one of my favorite classes I've ever taken. It's not necessarily something I want to pursue in my future, but I just love taking the classes. So for that, I basically have an extra art history class every semester, and it fits into my schedule no problem, pretty much. I worked with my counselor to make sure everything worked, and I think it's a really nice break from, I love my math and science classes, my engineering classes, but it's a lot of science and left brain thinking, so it's nice to have a break. I've also had time to take a lot of elective classes. This semester I'm taking yoga. Next semester I'm taking ballroom dancing. So there's definitely time to work into your schedule, and you can make it work if that's what you want to do.
Awesome. Chandler, what about you?
Just like Lyssa said, there's plenty of extra units that you can fill up. Some students might choose to fill them up with music or with a minor. I just kind of taken some of everything. So I'm going to be taking the cinematic class that's Thursday nights where you preview movies early just for fun. I've taken step aerobics. All of your GEs are also arts classes. So you're taking your core units of your entire major are going to be not in engineering because everyone in the school takes their general ed classes together. So there's plenty of break. My only advice in terms of that is to spread out those breaks. Don't fill up your freshman year with all those non-engineering classes, because by the time you get to junior and senior year, it's kind of nice to have that art history class or that sailing class or that ballroom dancing just to take some pressure off. But yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Chandler. So we're going to kind of take a step back here and answer a question coming at us from Twitter again. And it says, although it's a cliche question, why did you choose USC? So we're going to have everybody answer this one, starting off with Lauren. Lauren, why did you pick USC?
All right, why did I pick USC? Well, I felt like it had the best of everything. First of all, I applied to USC School of Engineering, and when I got in, it seemed like that would be the coolest place to study engineering. For a lot of the reasons that we've already talked about, like, the fact that you can still have a social life, the fact that you're in LA and there's so much to do, that was definitely a big part of it. I felt like just in case I, might change my major, there's so many other great majors here and just so much to do. And I love the weather. I feel like that's kind of a cliche answer, but I'm just going to throw that one in there, and I'll let someone else take a little bit or answer a little bit more of that from that question.
Cool. Rob, why did you pick USC?
So I actually wasn't really, I wasn't considering it too strongly at first because my dad had gone there and a lot of people from where I go had gone there, so it was kind of like I was looking to go a little bit further away. But once I visited campus in the spring of my senior year, I just fell in love. Something about the atmosphere of it, the hustle and bustle on campus, it almost has like a small school feeling in the engineering school and then kind of a larger school feeling with the entire rest of the university. So I just kind of fell in love with it, and then I started researching it more and found out how great the computer science program was here. Definitely the fact that it was a sports school and had great weather was a huge pull for it. So it just really clicked and felt right to me, and then it had all the perks to back it up. So that's why I chose USC.
Awesome. Lyssa, how about you?
USC was my dream school for a really long time. I fell in love the first time I walked on campus my sophomore year of high school. There were so many reasons I love USC. Like, I could literally talk about this for 20 minutes, but I won't. I love the balance it offers here. There's so many opportunities. I love that it's a very spirited school, and I love that social aspect of game day and that everyone puts aside everything they're doing and goes to the Coliseum and cheers for their team. I love the weather. I wanted to stay close to home. And I love that it's like a top engineering school within a larger university, and so there's so many more opportunities besides engineering, and they really encourage you to look for things outside of engineering.
All right, and finally, Chandler, why USC?
Well, I think they pretty much covered it, but being from Texas, football is a really big deal to everyone in the entire state, I'm pretty sure. So I was really excited to go to a big football school, a big spirited school. When I came on campus, over half of the students I saw walking around had on SC gear, and it wasn't even game day. So it's just nice to be around people who love their school, who brag about their school. I think the Trojan family is something that was didn't seem as important to me when I was looking for a college, but now that my friends are getting hired by other Trojans and passing down jobs and helping each other study, and even worldwide, some of my friends were abroad, and we ran into other students in SC gear, and we're celebrating abroad that they went to the same school. It's fun that Trojans love Trojans, and that you kind of already have this automatic respect for anyone who came to the school, which is pretty exciting.
Awesome. So we're gonna move on into the next question. Thanks, guys. Next question is: are any of us double majoring in a field outside of engineering? And if so, do you enjoy it? How does the workload compare to that of other engineering students? And Lyssa, I know you had already mentioned your other studies, but why don't you kind of reiterate those for us?
I'm not double majoring, but I did decide to add a minor in art history. I absolutely love it. It's one of the best decisions I've ever made. I love the classes I'm taking. They're very different than my engineering classes. They're a lot more writing versus math and problem sets, and a lot more reading and critical thinking in that aspect. And I think that they're just a really great addition to make me like more well-rounded. I haven't had a trouble with the workload necessarily. Sometimes it's a little hard fitting those classes into my schedule because they're a little more specialized, but it's worked out really well so far.
Awesome, and I'm also minoring. I've got a minor in entrepreneurship, and just as Lyssa said, it's really cool to add a different dynamic to what you're studying and be able to take those critical thinking skills and apply them outside of your major. So, taking the technical skills that you learn in class and figuring out how you can make that into a viable business. So, really cool things that happen in the entrepreneurship school and among other areas of study outside of engineering. But definitely minoring is something that's highly encouraged. Majoring double majoring is something you have to kind of figure out with your counselor coming into USC, because it's definitely going to be a bit of work to fit all those classes in. But they highly encourage minoring, and definitely just whatever you're interested in, go seek that out, and it's there for you. So with that, we're gonna head on into our next question, and the question is: are classes lecture based, or do they have a lot of labs and hands-on things as well? So I'm gonna hand this one off to Chandler.
Yes, they're actually very lab-based, lab-focused. Last semester, 3 of my classes had labs, which is exciting and very hands-on. It's also a lot of hours of class, but it was physics for sure has a lab. Most of your sciences do. With computer science, almost every single course requires a lab because you are making apps or making games, and it's really nice to have a TA there, or at least be with your classmates in case you run into an error that might take you hours to find, or your friend 2 minutes to find. But my classes right now, there's 2 lecture sections per week, Monday, Wednesday usually, or Tuesday, Thursday, and all of my classes this semester, one of those is the lecture and one of those is the lab. So I get to work with my group. We don't have to find outside time to meet to finish our mobile apps. So I'm currently making an iPhone app and a website for 2 of my classes, which is kind of fun. This is our 2nd or 3rd website and our 2nd or 3rd app as well. So lots of labs.
Awesome. Lyssa, any cool chemical engineering labs?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of lab with chemistry especially, and as Chandler already said, all your physics classes. I really liked Chem Lab this semester because once you start getting to upper division, you start doing some really cool hands-on labs. Everything we've done has had real-life applications and really reinforced the lecture material, which is really cool. To like apply all the things we're using lecture to solve real problems in the lab. I'm also working in a lab. There's a lot of opportunities to get involved with hands-on things on campus.
Cool. Lauren, we're coming at you next. Why don't you tell us a little bit about mechanical engineering labs and maybe the legendary Mechoptronics?
Yeah, so before I get to Mechoptronics, I'll talk about the coolest lab that I think any engineering student can take, which is Senior Design Project, which for mechanical engineering, you basically work in a group from yourself to 4 people and get to do whatever you want almost. So right now, me and my 3 teammates are designing a launcher for gliders. So the gliders are like 5 feet long wingspan, and basically we get to design the launcher, and students will actually be able to use it next year, which is awesome. Like we go into lab and basically actually make stuff, use drills and drill presses. It's the greatest thing. But then Mechoptronics is a class you take junior year, and what that is, it's kind of like more lab report based, but you learn so much, and sometimes people complain about it because it can be kind of hard, but I think it's really cool because you get to learn so much. I think Gavin's in it now, aren't you?
All right, thanks, Lauren. So just want to quickly say thank you to everyone who is tweeting us questions. Again, hashtag Viterbi Live will feed those questions to us, and we'll continue to answer all those that are coming in. So thank you for those questions via Twitter. And with that, we're gonna head into the next question, which is, have you guys had any good internship opportunities as engineers, and what are some companies that are recruiting at USC? So I'm gonna hand this one off to Chandler.
Yes, there's plenty of companies recruiting at USC. First off, there's a career fair every semester, and it's just silly not to go. They hand out jobs right and left. One of my close friends got a killer internship after his freshman year with Abbott Labs. Made a lot of money, had relocation, they paid for his housing, he was with a bunch of 20-something kids, making a lot of money, loved it, and that's after freshman year. I was fortunate enough to gain an internship at Microsoft this past summer. I was invited to a conference for women in computing. They hooked me up with the right people, and I got in on the Xbox team, where I will be returning next summer, which is super exciting. So it's easy. Internships are awesome. They're really popular after junior year summer. With engineers, we're lucky that a lot of our internship opportunities are paid. And with the Career Center on campus, Viterbi has a specific Career Center. There's a lot of recruiters that work just for USC, like Microsoft and Google and Yahoo. I'm talking technical-wise for computer science, but it's really easy to get plugged in. And there's events on campus all the time of come hang out with Yahoo, have free food, and get to know the Yahoo recruiter. So they throw jobs at us. All you have to do is keep your eyes open. And I think Rob can also talk about Microsoft too.
Awesome, yeah. Rob.
Yeah, so I had a great experience with this too. I actually, for juniors and seniors, there's an event called the Viterbi Industry Networking event that I went to, as well as a fall career fair. And you get to talk one-on-one with so many recruiters. It's really awesome. I remember in particular talking with an engineer from Facebook, and I mentioned something I was learning in my artificial intelligence class, neural networks, and the guy got really excited, and we had like a really intense conversation about it after. And along with Facebook, I also had a successful recruiting process with Google, which I ended up turning down to join Chandler up at Microsoft in the online management and security division. But yeah, there are so many opportunities. I get emails every week from the engineering department about information sessions at the school. We also, outside of computer science, I saw SpaceX, PwC, Chevron. There's so many opportunities. And, it's been successful for me in Chandler. It can be successful for everyone.
All right, cool. So we're going to head into the next question here. This one's coming at us via Twitter from Platimus. And Platimus asks, how are engineering teachers? So Lyssa, why don't you tell us a little bit about your experience with engineering professors?
I've had some great experience with engineering professors. I'm only a sophomore, so I've only taken 2 actual engineering classes at this point, or I guess 3. My freshman academy class would count 2. My freshman academy professor was awesome. She was outside of my major. She was a mechanical engineering professor, but I got to know her really well, and she's someone that I still talk to and keep in contact with. Even though she's outside my major, we just talk about what she's doing in her lab, what I'm doing in my labs, and then also my intro to chemical engineering teacher. He was one of the best teachers I've ever had. He's hilarious. He clearly loves what he's doing. He loved the material, and he was a really good teacher, and he was really good at communicating all that. So that's been my experience with engineering teachers.
Cool. Lauren, how about you?
All right. Yeah, I've had some really great teachers here. I'd still say my favorite teacher was my Physics 152 professor. That was the first time I went to office hours. Yeah, I waited till sophomore year to go to office hours. He actually really inspired me to get to love physics a lot better, and I'd actually do physics for free time, which I hadn't really done before, just because he communicated it so well that I was he was so passionate about it that I became passionate about it.
Awesome. Chandler, how about you?
I've had some awesome professors also. My favorite is Professor Redekop. His dad also teaches at the school, but Redekop went through the computer science program and electrical engineering at USC, decided to stay and teach and help improve the program, so he knows exactly what he's doing. He posts video lectures of every class. And so technically I've only had him twice, but I've watched his video lectures for 2 of my other classes, just as like supplemental information. But he's not the only one. There's plenty of professors that are awesome, but it's really nice and advantageous, like Lauren said, to reach out to them, to go to their office hours, to put a face with the name, so that you'll have a good contact, B, someone to ask for about labs if you want to do research, and C, having someone to give you recommendations is really crucial and really helpful when job season comes around. So.
Cool. We're getting another question via Twitter here from Twitter handle Timmy2Chains. He asks, I live in Illinois, and I'm wondering, what was it like coming from out of state and going to USC? So, Lauren, I know you're from out of state. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your experience?
Yeah, so I'm from Virginia, so that's pretty far. 3-hour time change and everything. Actually, freshman year it was a little bit weird because I would have to learn, not to call my parents after like 7:30 because they were going to sleep. But it's all about keeping in touch with your old friends, and more than that, it really helped me get out of my comfort zone and meet so many more friends because I was always here on the weekends. I was never going home. I felt like I actually had the best time ever because I was always here and basically taking everything to the best opportunity that there was. Although it was kind of weird coming home because I felt like I'd been gone so long, but I felt like I had a great experience.
Awesome. Chandler, going back to you, another out-of-state person. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your experiences?
Well, I'm from Texas. I'm from just outside Dallas, and I love everything about Texas. So leaving was a really, really big deal to me. I've been fortunate enough that my dad's business is half out in Orange County, so he's out here about every 4 weeks. Which is really nice, but like Lauren said, you have to be a little conscious about when you're calling home, and when your parents are texting you, because it's very early here when they get up. But other than that, there's a little bit of Texas and California, and there's a little bit of every state. There's such a mix of students here. It's easy to feel like home, and it makes going back just as more refreshing, I suppose.
Awesome. Want to give a quick shout out to Max, Kyle, and Nico on Twitter. We're getting to your questions soon. I apologize for the hold up. We've just got a lot of questions to go through, and we're going to get to them as soon as possible. And speaking of Max, actually, we're going to take your question right now. What kind of projects are engineers involved in at USC? He asks. So, Lyssa, what kind of projects are going on that you know about?
There are tons of projects going on. I feel like everyone I talk to is involved in something, be it one of the student design teams like Rocket Lab, Air Design Team, Formula SAE. There's a few robotics teams too, to research of some kind. I've worked in a research lab for the past year doing nanomaterials research, and we're working on how to apply quantum dots to solar energy applications and bio applications. So that's really cool. And honestly, almost everyone I talk to has a cool project that they're working on. And everyone gets super involved in those kind of things.
Cool. Rob, how about you?
Yeah, actually, to piggyback off Lyssa's answer, I actually know a guy who he's an electrical engineering pure EE major, and he joined the robotics team as a programmer freshman year, and now he's actually interviewing for software internships. But me personally, I got involved in a research project last year in computer security, basically trying to automatically identify who might have written a virus by looking at the source code. So that's something I've been working on for a year. I'm right now drafting a preliminary paper to present, and that's really exciting. I'm also this is actually a route that's really interesting, and I feel a little bit unique to USC. A lot of students choose to get involved in small businesses or startups. There's a lot going on in LA in the tech industry with mobile apps and web development. I'm actually working with my friend on his company called Sustainable Microfarms, which is basically looking at a way to kind of automate a personal crop growing system for families to grow corn or tomato right in their own household. So I'm actually working on the mobile application for that. That's just one of the many ways you can get involved in pretty much anything you want here. and certainly LA is a very exciting place to find projects like that.
Cool. Yeah, one of the things that's really cool about USC is that coming in as an undergrad, you have the opportunity to get to know your professors and to see what kind of projects are going on at USC, whether they're through grad students or through professors. And you'll hear that a lot of the engineers who are joining us tonight are involved in these projects, these research projects. And if you actually go to the Viterbi Voices homepage and click on videos, one of the tabs in the upper bar there, the header bar, you can check out one of the videos that is a featured video. It's Biomedical Engineering, Meet the Faculty. And basically, it's just one of the examples of a professor who has undergrads working in his lab, and that's a pretty common theme on campus. So really cool stuff. You just go talk to a professor, ask them what kind of research they're doing, and chances are, if they aren't doing anything or don't have a spot for you, they can refer you to somebody else who might. So really cool opportunities here at USC, and that's definitely one of the reasons why I ended up actually because of those opportunities. So with that, we're going to head on and do another question from Nico. And Nico on Twitter asks, how much is the workload for engineers? And is there any help if you're struggling in a class? So I'm going to go to Lauren. What's your opinion on it?
Yeah, I think the workload varies based on your classes in the semester. So for example, when I was in mechatronics last year, it was probably the hardest workload that I'd ever had. But even senior year, it's already a lot easier. But when you're struggling in your classes, there's a lot of ways to go about that. So a lot of times I would start study groups with my friends, and we'd kind of get through the material together. Freshman year with chemistry and physics, there were these SI sessions that they would offer. Basically, SI stands for supplementary instruction, I believe. And so they would be taught by upper class students who'd done really well in the course, and then you could go and do their problems, and they kind of were the experts, and they really helped me out a lot with physics 151, definitely. Other than that, TA office hours, just as long as you just kind of have to work them into your schedule, and then all of a sudden, everything gets easier.
Cool. Lyssa, what are your thoughts?
The workload is definitely different than high school. It's a lot of independent work. It's not like homework every day. It's more like homework every week. So you have to be a lot more proactive on keeping up with all of your homework. One of the best resources I've found is free tutoring through the Viterbi Academic Resource Center. They are mostly, anyone can apply to be a VARC tutor, and they're people who did really well in these classes. They're lower division classes, and they'll tutor you for free. So that's been super helpful in hammering out difficult concepts and just talking things through. So that's what I've found.
Cool. So we've got a question coming in from Cynthia, and Cynthia asks, all of you seem to be involved in many extracurricular activities. How do you balance the demands of your classes with these extracurriculars? So Chandler, how do you find the time to do everything?
Well, freshman semester, I went to the involvement fair. It's the first week of classes. And I signed up for everything. I think I put my name down on 30 different organizations lists, and I was like, oh, I was involved in high school. I can be equally as involved in college. False, you do at some point have to pick and choose. 30 is not where you should start. I would probably pick 3 or 4, and you can decide from there. But you do learn, just like you're adjusting to college, and managing when you should do your weekly homework, or things like that. It's pretty easy to figure out when's the best time to meet with this group, and if these two clubs conflict, having to pick and choose. And as you get older into junior, senior year, you start to have positions in these groups. So Rob, can you expand on that?
Yeah, as I mentioned, I'm involved in quite a few activities. One of my most time-consuming is being president of my social fraternity. As Chandler mentioned, you kind of feel it out as you go. One of the great things is everyone understands that because you're in college, you're going to be busy. So everyone's super flexible. You find time for the things you care about. And I know for me, that's the clubs and the fraternity and research. And you actually learn a lot in college how to manage your time. It's something that I thought I knew in high school, and it turns out I didn't know anything. But you end up going, you know,
I know, but I just didn't have time. I can't use lower thirds with this. Hi, everybody. So sorry about the technical difficulties. I'm Steve. I'm another VSA. I am from Heartland, Wisconsin. I'm a senior in biomedical electrical engineering. I came in to quick try and figure out what was going technically wrong with our broadcast earlier. Gavin will be resuming with us shortly, as will the other VSAs, and we actually will be transitioning in some new VSAs with some new majors to answer some of your questions in a little bit. But for now, we will keep going on some of the earlier questions. So I don't know where we left off exactly, but the first question that we're going to answer came in by email, and it's from Nicole, and it says, are the teachers easily accessible, and are there a lot of office hours for the teachers? So why don't we start with Chandler?
Yeah, great question. The professors are super accessible. Every professor and every TA holds office hours every week, usually across multiple days. In high school, I would have never gone to office hours. It wasn't like the cool thing. It didn't seem like a normal thing. But in college, it is absolutely crucial. In fact, a lot of your professors might even require it just so that they can associate your face with your name. And it's so helpful, even if it's as simple as a homework question or just stopping by to say, hey, I've never had any trouble going to see my professors. And if their office hours are during a class or something, it's really easy to email to meet up with them or just stay after class. Usually your question is only a few minutes. But one of my professors this semester actually went through the entire homework assignment question by question because I was so confused. And his one-on-one time was exactly what I needed to help me prepare for the midterm and really, really grasp the homework. So it's awesome.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chandler. Rob, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I thought this was funny. As Chandler mentioned, I've actually also had a professor that made it, I think it was about 2% of the grade, but you had to attend his office hours 3 times in the semester just so we got to know you. I've also had a professor that it seemed like he was almost always in the office, and he really loved knowing the students. He had a large class, but he still managed to know everyone, and he actually went to the extra effort of putting up little walkthroughs for the harder homework problems online. I've also just popped in on professors just to ask about career advice, like, hey, I don't know if I want to go into software or hardware or a hybrid, or I don't know if I want to do graduate school, and they love helping out with that. And actually, on our viterbivoices.usc.edu website, we have videos called Meet the Faculty. It's a series, and I actually just worked on one for biomedical engineering, and the professor we interviewed actually said that's one of his favorite parts of teaching is mentoring students and getting to know them. So yes, the professors here are definitely available, and they actually really like when students come in and ask them questions.
Awesome. Thanks a ton, Rob. So we are going to move next to a question from Noah that also came in by email. So Noah is wondering what kind of atmosphere the engineering school has. Mainly, is it collaborative or competitive? And I'm going to let Lyssa start with that. And while Lyssa is talking, we've got some other VSAs coming back in, so I will add them, and then they will introduce themselves afterwards.
The environment at the engineering school here is definitely extremely collaborative. On the first day of my first chemical engineering class, the professor said, by next week, please have a study group formed. And so everyone, he required you to have a study group for his class. the best way to get through these classes is to work together. You can learn so much from each other, and everyone here has a really similar mentality, and everyone has a really good work ethic, and so working together is one of the best resources that you get to have here. And everyone encourages you to collaborate. Every professor does that, expects you to collaborate with people pretty much.
Cool, thanks, Lyssa. So we had a couple new faces join us. Pedro, so the question was, what kind of atmosphere the engineering school has, mainly is it collaborative, competitive? Do you want to just quick introduce yourself and then give your take on that question?
Yeah, for sure. Hey, everybody. My name is Pedro Lepe. I am a second year here at USC. I'm studying electrical engineering. On campus, I'm involved in rugby. I'm also part of the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, which is an organization within the Viterbi School of Engineering. And I'm also part of the Norman Topping Student Aid Fund, and I do a lot of community outreach. And this past summer, I just interned at Northrop Grumman. So to address your question, I definitely feel like piggybacking off what Lyssa was saying, that it's very collaborative. Similar to her story, my first year, our calc teacher told us that he recommended we formed a study group, and I did, and those people ended up being very good friends of mine. And I feel like USC surrounds you with people who are, who all have common goals to obviously to be an engineer and to succeed in class and academics. And it definitely empowered me and all my classmates because of the collaborative environment.
Cool, thank you so much, Pedro. We are going to be moving next to a question from, let's go with Cynthia's question. So Cynthia emailed in and said, how much prior knowledge experience did you have before becoming an engineering major? So for example, did you take engineering classes in high school? Did you already know how to program, etc.? So Kat is another new face joining us, so we're going to go to Kat. And Kat, can you do the same as Pedro and just introduce yourself and then give your answer to that question?
Yeah. So hi, I'm Kat. I'm a junior from Seal Beach. I am studying industrial and systems engineering with a minor in classics, and on campus I'm involved in an all-female service organization called the Leans. I also play on the club water polo team, and I do research at Children's Hospital Los Angeles. So to answer Cynthia's question, I didn't really have too much actual engineering experience before coming to USC. I basically just took calculus in high school, and I took physics, I took biology and chemistry, so I didn't take any real engineering work, just a lot of sciences, and I would say that really prepared me for what was expected of me when I came in my freshman year.
Okay, Kat, thank you. Let's have Chandler give her input on that question. Or actually, no, Chandler, stick around for a second. Let's have Lauren give her input on that question, and then we're going to start transitioning the first round of VSAs out because we've got a real crowded chat going on right now. Tons of VSAs to answer questions, but we'll let Lauren get on with her night. So Lauren, why don't you give your answer and then say goodbye to everybody.
Yeah, sure. So basically, my engineering experience was limited, but I had taken physics, biology, chemistry, a lot of the science classes. My high school was actually a science to tech focused high school, and so I'd actually had programming experience as well, but nothing quite up to the level that I would end up learning even within my first year. So you definitely learn a lot, even if you don't have that much experience, although every little bit helps. But even if you don't have it, I feel like you won't be that far behind.
Awesome. Thanks, Lauren. Sorry about that, guys, for the technical difficulties. I am back in the game, and just want to let everyone know that we're really sorry if we haven't gotten to your question yet. We're doing our best. We've got a backlog of questions on our side, and we're just trying to get to as many of them as possible. So thank you so much. Keep asking those questions. They're great questions, and we're just going to keep doing our best to get to all of them. So with that, we're going to move on. Our next question is coming at us from Twitter, and it asks, what is a typical day as an engineer at USC? So, Vlad, I'm coming at you. What's your typical day like? Is Vlad on?
There we go. Sorry about that. Just had a little bit of trouble with the microphone. So before I answer the question, my name is Vlad. I'm a senior majoring in aerospace engineering. And for me, a typical day for me is mainly alternates between classes, student orgs, and then homework. And for me, I'll typically start off my day by going to class, then I'll go to my research lab, and then conduct the research there. Then I'll go back to class and alternate between class and research or work, and typically do homework. Now, it's not to say that I don't put in time in there to relax or to get some free time in there. I'll hang out with my friends, grab lunch with some friends. But yeah, it's typically my day.
Thanks, Vlad. All right, we're going to Chandler next. Chandler, why don't you tell us a little bit about your typical day, and then we'll let you sign off here.
Well, Vlad mentioned pretty much an average day involves going to campus, coming back for lunch, going to campus, going back for dinner, going to campus for a meeting. Lots of back and forth, but it's fun. It's always something different. Like we talked about earlier, homework's usually once a week. Your classes don't meet very often, so I usually only have class in the morning, which is really nice. But now is when I'll put my plug in for a cool video coming soon. I carried around a flip cam for an entire day and recorded a day in the life of me. And it will be posted, I believe, next week, give or take. But it's super cool. There's other day in the life videos, so you can actually see how much time we spend getting ready or in class or hanging out with our friends or in meetings. I know Steve has one up. We just talked to him for a little while, and Greg. But you can check out all of those through viterbivoices.usc.edu or straight from YouTube. So you should check this out. And it's been nice chatting with you guys. I'm going to head out, but have fun with the rest of the chat.
Cool. Thank you, Chandler. And I'm going to let all our other first-round VSAs also say goodbye here and leave you with any last-minute thoughts. So, Lauren, anything else to add before we say goodbye to you?
Nothing else. Just good luck with all your decisions, and hope you have a great last year in high school. Nice to talk to everybody. So have a good night.
Thanks, Lauren. Lyssa?
I guess I don't really have anything else to add, but if you guys have any other questions after this live chat, feel free to tweet at us, email us, get in contact with us. We're always happy to answer your questions.
Thanks. Rob?
It's been really great. We love answering questions for you guys and helping your process in whatever way possible. Adding on to what Lyssa said, we all have blogs on viterbivoices.usc.edu. So if any of us first-round people had something to say that you thought was interesting, you can always reach us through that, and we'd love to answer those questions. See you guys later.
All right, and with that, we're going to sit around and take a minute to introduce the new VSAs that have just come in. So once again, my name's Gavin. I'm a junior studying astronautical engineering from Sacramento, California. On campus, I'm involved in a few things, including some research. I am a member of Greek Life, and I'm involved in the Stevens Institute for Innovation, which is an entrepreneurship lab on campus. And with that, I'm going to hand it off to Brenton. Brenton, can you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about what you do.
My name is Brenton, and I'm a junior studying biomedical engineering. Last summer, I had an internship with Abbott Labs, in which I was a core diagnostics intern. And then on campus, I'm vice president of a social fraternity, vice president of finance for a Greek Honor Society, and a freshman academy coach.
Awesome. Kat, how about you?
So I introduced myself a little bit before, but I'll just say again, I'm a junior from Seal Beach, California. I'm studying industrial and systems engineering with a minor in classics. On campus, I'm involved in USC Hellenes, which is an all-female service and hostessing organization. I also do some research in systems at Children's Hospital Los Angeles, and I play on the Women's Club water polo team. Finally, this last summer, I had the opportunity to go to Madrid with the Viterbi Summer Overseas program, and I had a blast.
All right, and I know you got to introduce yourself briefly, but Pedro, can you reiterate some of the things you're involved in?
Yeah, definitely. So, hey everyone, my name is Pedro. If you didn't catch it the first time, I am from Southgate, California, which is not too far of a drive from USC. on campus, I'm involved with the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, which is a club in Viterbi. And so there we just, work on professionalism and etiquette, and they also expose us to opportunities for internships. So I'm also part of the USC club rugby team, and I also do IM sports like soccer and basketball, which is intramural. And I'm also part of the Norman Topping Student Aid Fund. And yeah, so just let me know if you have any questions about anything I do.
Cool. Thanks, Pedro. And lastly, Vlad.
Hey guys, so like I said before, I'm a senior majoring in aerospace engineering, and I'm originally from Cincinnati, Ohio, to all you Midwesterners out there. At USC, I'm involved with research on campus. I'm in part of a Greek fraternity, and I'm also part of the USC Rocket Propulsion Lab, where we're hoping to be the first student group to launch a rocket into space. And also this past summer, I interned at SpaceX. Summer before that, interned with GE Aviation. So if you have any questions about anything regarding that, I'd be more than happy to answer it.
Cool, Vlad. Thank you. And with that, we're going to head into our next question, and our next question's from Jacqueline. And she asks, what is one opportunity you think Viterbi students should not miss? Brenton, what is it for you?
I'm going to go a little bit out of the box on this one and say exploring Los Angeles. I missed this in my intro, but I'm actually from Boston, Massachusetts. So exploring the great area around here, it is a city neighborhood. You got Santa Monica Beach down the street. You have Beverly Hills. You have Hollywood. There's so many things surrounding you. Disneyland, LA Live. You can go see a sports game. You can go to concerts. I went to a concert last weekend. There's a lot of things to do here, and really taking advantage of that while you're in school keeps you to be a well-rounded student. So I definitely say take advantage of the opportunities you have in Los Angeles as a greater community. Definitely explore.
Thanks, Brenton. Pedro, what's the one thing that you would tell somebody not to miss?
Also, a little more like exclusive to the Viterbi School of Engineering. I think the resources that they provide, definitely, I think Lyssa was talking about this in the last live chat. She was talking about the Viterbi Academic Resource Center, and this is all free tutoring that they provide to you. So if you're ever struggling with a class, or you feel like you weren't prepared well enough in high school for what you're experiencing now, you just go online and you sign up, and there's plenty of students that have already taken courses that will help you out with that. So I would definitely take advantage of all the free tutoring and the resources that USC, the USC Viterbi School of Engineering provides for you.
Vlad, how about you? What would you tell an incoming student that, in your eyes, is absolutely mandatory?
So I would say that if you're coming to Viterbi, or any college for that matter, get involved. Definitely get involved with the student orgs. Get your hands dirty, and that's the best way for you to figure out if what you're doing is what you love. Because like I said, I'm doing Rocket Lab, and I had no idea, no knowledge about rockets before coming to USC. Getting involved, I've been able to learn a lot about that, a lot about fabrication methods, and not only that, I've also been able to meet people, make friends, and network. So definitely join a student org, regardless of what your interests are.
Cool. Kat, what is it for you?
What I would just say, make sure you ask your professors questions about what they do research in, because I didn't start going to office hours until like a couple semesters in, and I really regret not going my freshman year, because my professors are so interesting and knowledgeable, and they're also always there to really help you if you don't understand anything. So I would say that's one opportunity. All the professors I've had are just fabulous. I love them, so that's what I would say.
Thanks, guys. Our next question is coming at us from Carolina, and she asks, how many classes do you take per semester? So, Brenton, we're going to start off with you again. How many classes are you taking right now?
Right now I'm taking 5 classes, a general education class, technical entrepreneurship, molecular biology, electrical systems class, and a math class. It's 18 units, so that's kind of the border that you want to take, but my schedule so far has been anywhere between 4 and 5 classes.
Cool. Vlad, how about you?
Yeah, I like Brennan. I've also, most of my classes have been between 4 and 5 classes, and Typically for me, I've been able to mix in non-engineering classes in there. So typically for me, it's like 3 or 4 engineering classes, and then in my freshman sophomore year, it'd be a GE. But now have been able to throw in classes like film symposium and sailing in there. So somewhere around 4 to 5 mixed engineering and general classes.
Cool stuff. So our next question is coming at us from Timothy, and Timothy asks, how does advisement work? Does each student have a personal advisor? Does the advisement include making sure needed classes are taken in the right order, and are they available at the right time? And really quickly, I'm just gonna say one thing, and that is that in order to register for classes at USC, you need to meet with your advisor at least once per semester. So they kind of force you to meet with your advisor, which is a really good thing because that ensures that you're going to be taking those courses in the correct order, taking all the courses you need, making sure that you've got a class schedule that works for you. And when you come into USC, you're going to have a freshman advisor. And so that's someone that is department specific, that it handles only freshmen. And that means that they're well versed in dealing with what you need, what you feel comfortable with taking, and helping you navigate that process. After that, you're going to move on to another advisor, an upper division advisor, who will be with you for the rest of your time at USC, and they have plenty of office hours. You can schedule an appointment. You can walk into their office just about any time, and they'll be there to help answer some of your questions. But regarding specifics, I'm going to hand this off to Pedro. Pedro, what have been some of your experiences with your advisor?
Yeah, so I remember getting here freshman year, and I met my advisor. His name's Jeff. And every time he sees me on campus, he's like, "Hey, Pedro," because like coming in, I wasn't very sure if I was being like well taken care of as far as like what classes were going to be taken, just because I had heard so many horror stories about how advisors didn't help. But that definitely wasn't the case here at USC. Jeff called me in. Like I always called him or emailed him every time I had a question, and he told me, "Hey, you need to do this, you need to do that." And this year, since I'm a sophomore, I was taken to my second year advisor, and he was also just as helpful, and he told me which classes I needed to take in order to graduate in the time frame that I wanted to take, especially because I'm adding in a minor for computer science. They're helping me with all the logistics so I can maintain a well-balanced schedule and still not take too many units and get to pick up my minor.
Kat, what have been your experiences?
Well, I've had a really great experience with my usual academic advisor. She's been really helpful with getting me the classes I need, and also very just honest with me about what classes I will and will not be prepared to take if I decide I want to take something out of order. She's been pretty helpful in helping me decide what I can take reasonably. But also, I want to say that I had a really great experience recently. I had to go to advisement for another Viterbi department, so I actually went to try and get clearance to take a class in the electrical engineering department, and the advisor was happy to see me. I had a great experience, so that's just something I wanted to add.
Brenton, how about you?
I had a great time with my advisor, kind of similar to what Pedro said. I'm doing something a little bit abnormal. I'm doing my biomedical engineering degree with an emphasis in business. So my advisor has actually been there with me every step of the way, from petitioning classes to get them to count, and kind of more as a life coach a little bit too, because he's kind of seen biomedical engineering students from start to finish and sees where they end up. And since I kind of want to go down the biotech consulting route, he's helping me figure that out. So I've had a great experience with my advisor.
How about you, Vlad? Vlad, you're up.
So yeah, definitely. Yeah, sorry. So definitely with my advisors, to kind of echo what everyone has said, they've always been helpful, and they all have office hours every day, so you can just walk in and ask them a question. And I've changed my schedule around so many times, and they've always been there helping me out. And like if I wanted to go take one class in certain semester, they kind of help me shuffle around my schedule so that I can do that. So, yeah, definitely to echo what everyone else has been saying is very helpful advisement here.
All right. And once again, I just want to give a shout out to John Parkinson, Tim Foreman, Max Uloa. Thank you guys so much for your questions. We apologize again if we're not getting to all of them. We've got a backlog on our end, and so we're just trying to get through as many as possible to give you guys the best representation of life here at USC. So we're gonna continue on with our next question coming at us from Twitter. And the question is, do you have a lot of time for extracurriculars like sports? So I'm going to hand this one over to you, Pedro.
Hey, Timmy, thanks for asking this question. I remember when I came in, I was very concerned about that just because I played like 3 different sports in high school, and I wanted to maintain that balance and be able to study engineering and still be involved in sports. So like I think I mentioned earlier that I'm involved with the USC rugby team. And I definitely see being part of these clubs and these teams as an incentive to finish your work and create time slots for you to be able to and enjoy these things and maintain a good balance and be a well-balanced student.
Thanks, Pedro. We're going to move on into the next question. We're going to try and hustle through a few of these. And our next question, I'm going to hand this one to Kat, is how many girls are in your classes?
So this is actually something I was sort of concerned about coming into school for engineering, and I wouldn't be worried about it now. I have some classes where, it's, I would say, almost about 50-50 boys and girls. I also have some where there's a few less girls, but it's actually made me really close with the other girls who are in my engineering classes. It's not something I would worry about. Most of my classes, I would say it's about half and half, though.
Thanks, Scott. Brenton, we've got a question directly for you, and that question is: after graduating, what companies in Southern California specifically are you planning on applying to for a job?
Specifically, I haven't looked into Southern California companies. I'm kind of a nomad right now. As I said, I'm from Boston, go to school in LA, and last summer I had an internship in Chicago. So I'm kind of all over the place, and I kind of like that. It's cool to explore new cities. As far as Southern California, I actually have an interview with KPMG on Tuesday, and they're based actually in Northern California and Southern California, and doing some tax auditing stuff for them for biotech companies would be really cool. Other than that, I'm kind of looking into GE Healthcare and some other companies that kind of are biotechy, but I can also do a little bit of consulting business for them.
Thanks, Brenton. Our next question is from Yasmin, and Yasmin asks, do most people graduate in 4 years? And I'm just going to go ahead and take this one because it's a pretty short answer, and it's the answer is yes. You don't have to if you end up adding a minor your senior year, or if you want to double major or do something, kind of later on in your academic career. That might have an effect on your schedule, but the simple answer is yes. You will never have trouble getting a class that you need. You'll never not be able to register for those courses, and so you'll be able to get out in 4 years if that's the goal. Definitely not a problem. I think unless anybody wants to add anything, I think everyone here came in planning on graduating in 4 years, and that's certainly something that you'll talk to with your advisor on the first day that you step onto campus. So definitely 100% doable. We're going to head into the next question, and this question's coming at us from Brianna. And Brianna asks, I'm interested in studying aerospace engineering, but I'm not sure if I should do that or mechanical with a focus in aerospace. I'm scared that there won't be a space program in the future, such as NASA. Any advice? Should I still pursue aerospace engineering? So Vlad, I'm going to hand this one over to you.
Yeah, so I've actually had that same kind of conflict in my deciding of what I wanted to major in, because I actually came in astronautical, then switched to aerospace, then thought I switched to mechanical. But anyway, in regards to aerospace and mechanical, what I found here is that the difference between the two majors is only like 6 classes. And so if you start off one just to try it out and then do another, you won't have any trouble switching. That being said, looking in the future, the reason why I'm interested in aerospace and why I'm sticking with aerospace is because I really want to get into space flight and more specifically commercialized spacecraft. And so while NASA doesn't have a space program right now, there's other companies like SpaceX, Blue Origin, Sierra Nevada, just off the top of my head, that are actively developing commercial crew launch vehicles to send astronauts to space. And on the flip side, NASA is still doing a lot of really cool research with unmanned space probes and satellites to different planets and all around the solar system. So I think if you're interested in aerospace and you want to focus on space, I shouldn't think you need to worry about whether or not there's going to be an industry for it, because there definitely is going to be one around for a long time to come.
Thanks, Vlad. We're going to change the pace of the questions here for a second. And Timothy asks, can you talk about the engineering fraternities? Do we have them? Can new students join? Do you recommend them? What's the average size? Are they hard to get into? What's been your experience, Brenton?
Yeah, absolutely. So there are professional fraternities and there are social fraternities. And so engineering, there's an engineering fraternity, Sigma Phi Delta, and there's also an engineering. And then I'm trying to answer all your questions, so you got a lot in there. And then also, can new students join them? Absolutely. All you have to do is seek them out. The engineering fraternity has their own recruitment schedule, which you can look up online, and you get more information about that during Welcome Week when you come in the fall. And then, do you recommend them for new students? It's totally up to you. When you join a fraternity or sorority, it kind of gave me a home base coming from Boston, so an instant group of friends here. But if ultimately you want to, the people that you're joining it for, and the people that you're around, you want to click with, and really it needs to make your experience better here at USC. A lot of people find the same thing they find in a fraternity or sorority in an extracurricular activity in certain groups like that. So by no means do you have to, but it's interesting too. And also the average size of a fraternity, I'd say about 80 people for social fraternities. Professional fraternities are about 40 people. Did that answer your question, Gavin?
Yep, thanks, Brenton.
There we go.
All right, next question coming at us from Alex Wong, and Alex Wong asks, are there any professors who have been especially prominent or helpful to student success, or any classes? And I'm going to hand this one to you, Kat. Have you had any especially prominent professors that have sort of helped guide you through your academic career here?
Yeah, I have a great professor this semester actually named Dr. Mishkati, and he's teaching my ISC 370 class. It's called Human Factors in Work Design. The great thing about Dr. Mishkati is he really takes an interest in all of his students. So the first day of class, maybe the second class period, I guess, he knew all of our names. He asked us all what we were interested in doing when we graduated, and he sends us all articles kind of specific to what we want to do, and I find that really helpful. He's also really well connected, and he kind of says, if you have an if there's an industry you're interested in, like I might have a connection, so you should come talk to me. And I think that's really great. I really like that he does that. It's been helpful for me and some of my friends too.
Pedro, have you had any really influential professors?
Yeah, coming in freshman year, the first electrical engineering course I took, I met Dr. Arman Tangwe, and he was just a very, very influential professor. I remember after every lecture, students would literally give him a standing ovation after every single lecture, twice a week, and it never got tired. And he was very helpful with helping me choose what career paths I wanted to take eventually. He was a very bright man from MIT, and with the Norman Topping Student Aid Fund, which I'm involved in on campus, the scholarship asks us to take a professor out to dinner and ask him questions, of how we can succeed, and he was very willing to help me do that during midterms week. So nice guy. He made time for me during that hectic week, and he gave me tips, and he eventually encouraged me to apply to Northrop, which is where I spent my internship this past summer. And I'm still in contact with him. He's a very cool guy.
Great story, Pedro. Thank you. Vlad, different question for you. What's your typical weekend like?
So before I answer that question, I want to give a shout out there to Natalie Thanks for tuning in and watching this. For me, my typical weekend varies dramatically. There's some weekends where I can go to the beach, I can go downtown, hang out with my friends, but then some weekends I just gotta bunker down and do some homework. Typically, I do a mix. I'll typically just Friday, Saturday, hang out with my friends, go to the beach, maybe go watch a movie or like take a trip to San Francisco or San Diego. But then I typically like Sunday or something, I'll set aside for homework and kind of just focus heavily on that. But yeah, there's definitely a lot to do in LA, and definitely have the opportunity to do it outside of class if you use your time management skills to get your work done when you need to.
Thanks, Vlad. Brenton, you're a popular guy tonight. We got another question specifically for you. This question is, how are you liking biomedical engineering? How was your internship? What pushed you into BME? Just go for it. What's the story?
Okay, let's start off. I'll reduce it, but are you enjoying biomedical engineering? Absolutely. It's so much fun to kind of learn engineering principles, and at the end of the day, have an impact on people's life in a positive manner. My internship last summer was great. I actually had an awesome manager who let me drive my own project, and he had no problem. I came into the internship going to write code, actually. I was a core diagnostics intern, and instead he let me drive my own project, so I actually became a consulting intern. So that was awesome. I really loved Avid, and I got a return offer, so that's still on the table. And then what was the last one? What pushed me to do biomedical engineering? I love science and math and want to combine them for a greater cause, and my greater cause was healthcare, health.
Thanks, Brenton. Our next question is coming at us from Twitter from Spencer, and Spencer says that he's interested in USC's global ideology, and can engineers live in international residence halls like Parkside? So, Pedro, I'm going to hand this to you.
Hey, Spencer. Thanks for asking. So last year I lived in at IRC, which is an international residential college, and my suite was awesome. It was myself, a guy from Taiwan, a guy from Greece, and I also think there was one more guy from. I think his parents were of Pakistani descent, so it was a very diverse suite, and it was awesome because within IRC we got to do things like go to this event for Diwali and learn about this Indian holiday. And it was awesome too because 3 of us were actually engineering majors in that suite, so we all got to get each other cultured and teach each other about our respective cultures. It's also really cool because as soon as you get out of IRC, there's RTH, which is the main engineering building, and all your classes are generally around that area. So I definitely enjoyed living in the USC IRC.
Thanks, Pedro.
Yeah.
We've got a question coming at us from Tyler, and Tyler asks, what are Viterbi students doing with regards to alternative energy solutions? Are there specific professors working on these projects, and which majors are involved? So, Vlad, I'm going to hand this one to you.
Cool. So I actually got to work on a solar installation project on Catalina that I'm still actually working on right now, where we went to Catalina, talked to the Wrigley Institute, which is a part of the USC, about what their energy needs are, and we went ahead and designed a solar array with the right mounts and the right inverters and all that to meet their energy needs. Now I got this opportunity through a class that I took last fall, which was a class on solar charging stations, where in that class we actually built a solar charging station, and that was through Professor Dr. Parker. And there's a lot of alternative energy research going on campus, and any different major could do it. Like, I'm aerospace engineering, nothing directly related to solar, but I still was able to be involved with solar. Now, there's a lot of aerospace engineers that do alternative energy for wind, so if you want to go down that route, you could do that. In terms of professors that are directly involved with it, if you Google the USC Energy Institute, it gives a summary of a lot of the alternative energy projects that USC is involved with on campus, and also gives you contact information for professors involved. So you can actually email them directly and say, hey, I'm interested in what you're doing. Is there any way that I can come get involved or get a tour of your lab? So yeah, the short answer to your question is yes, there's definitely a lot of alternative energy possibilities to get involved with.
Yeah, definitely a lot of cool projects going on. Thanks, Vlad, for the input. We're moving on to the next question, and that is, what makes Viterbi School of Engineering different from other schools in the nation? Basically, what do you like best about it? What did you find here that maybe you didn't see anywhere else? So, Kat, I'm gonna let you take this one first.
Okay, what I really liked about Viterbi that was specific to Viterbi was its location. I just felt that there was so much opportunity in Los Angeles. I mean, I'm involved in research at Children's Hospital in Los Angeles, and there's just a lot to do, both for engineering research and just recreational activities in Los Angeles. And I feel like some of the other schools I was looking at didn't have as many opportunities in the nearby community. So that's what I like. That's what I think makes Viterbi stand out.
Brenton, what do you think makes Viterbi stand out among the rest?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll say two things: collaboration and outgoing. Those are my two words to describe Viterbi. It has a collaborative work environment from the get-go. In your freshman academy class, team building activities are a core part. The desk spaces are shared, so you have to work with someone else on projects or in-class activities. So the collaborative work environment, rather than sometimes what can be described as like a cutthroat atmosphere other places, and definitely outgoing. Presentation skills are stressed a lot here, even in the Engineering Writing 340 program, and throughout a lot of classes. And I think that's an awesome aspect. If you can have an engineer who knows how to articulate himself, it's a great combo.
Cool. Yeah, it's definitely something that that I feel drew me to USC as well, was the collaborative sense of things. That's something that that our president, President Max Nikias, has been stressing. Not just collaboration within the school, but collaboration across all the schools. And that's something that you know, if you check out USC's website, there's just a lot of that stuff going on in terms of cross-school collaboration, the communication school working with the engineering school, the business school working with the engineering school, and there's just a lot of really cool projects that emerge from an environment like that. So I would definitely agree with you guys that collaboration is definitely key here at USC. So with that, we're going to move on to the next question, and that question is coming at us from Yasmin, and she asks, how's the food in the dining commons? So Vlad, what do you think about the food?
So the food is good. You know, I definitely enjoyed it my freshman year. I will say that, yeah, at one point it does get tired because, you know, you're eating the same thing every day. But the cool thing is we have 3 different common dining areas. 2 of them just got revamped, and 1 is completely new. And they have really good food. My favorite, personally, is the pecan pie at Parkside. Got to check it out if you come here. It's delicious. Other than that, you also have Dining Dollars, where they work on different cafes on campus. There's one in RTH, the main engineering building, that has really good paninis. And there's a couple of other places like the Student Center that has a bunch of different restaurants. So yeah, you definitely, if you get tired of dining, the common dining areas, you can venture out to other dining areas and even small eateries on campus.
Thanks, Vlad. Kat, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, one of the things that I was kind of concerned about coming here was, is it going to be easy to eat healthy food? So, like, one thing that I really like about USC food is that there's a lot of options for you to, like, get salads and stuff. They have some great salads at the campus center, and it's just really easy to stay healthy here if you want to eat healthy. And that's something that, like, I was concerned about coming in, so that's what I wanted to say.
Cool. We're going to head on to the next question coming at us from Twitter again. And this question is, how easy is it for a freshman at USC to get a lab research experience? How much freedom, support do you get within the lab? And I'm going to quick take this for a second and just say that I started working in a lab a week and a half into my freshman year. I was in my Astronautics 101 course, and I was just speaking to my professor after the class. There were only 9 people in the class, so I got to just go up and talk to him immediately, and he knew who I was. And I asked him, I said, what are you working on? And he said, I'm working on this really cool molten boron project over in the Collaborative High Altitude Flow Facility. And I said, that sounds awesome. What do I have to do to get involved in that? And he said, just stop by the lab next week, and we'll see what we can do. So I stopped by the lab and immediately started working. And in terms of the freedom, support, things like that, it was amazing. I always had a group of really competent people around me to help show me what to do and make sure I was succeeding. And in terms of the freedom, you definitely you're typically going to be working on a project that everyone has a common goal, but there are a lot of ways to typically go about things, and you're certainly expected. They expect a lot of you. Not anything that you wouldn't be expected to know coming into USC regarding engineering, but just a general enthusiasm and drive to be there. So if that's something that you possess, then definitely seek out those professors and try and get in those labs, because it's a really valuable experience. But with that, I'm gonna hand it back to Kat. Kat, do you have anything to add?
I don't really have anything to add. Sorry. That's about it.
Awesome. Vlad, how about you?
So I have, similar to Gavin, you did a really good job of answering that. I actually started in a research lab the first week of school as well. My biggest advice to you, if you're interested in doing research, is just email the professor, do some research on what they're doing before you email them, and give specific aspects of the project that you're interested on in your email. More likely than not, professors love having freshmen there to help out and to learn, and they're really forthcoming in providing lab space. Now, in terms of how much you'll actually get to do as a freshman, it depends. It depends on how much skill you have in the field that you're researching in, and what classes you've taken. Because sometimes the research that requires a depth of knowledge that you might not have yet. But definitely, if you stick with the research lab for 4 years, you'll take on more and more responsibility until, like, I've had friends that by their senior year, they're running their own experiments and they're co-writing papers that get published, and then they have that to put on their resume for work or for CV. So definitely just check it out, stick with it.
Cool. Pedro, we've got a question specifically for you coming in from Twitter, and it asks, relating to your connection with Northrop Grumman, how prevalent are defense industry internships here at USC?
Sorry about that. I was actually very pleasantly surprised when I got to Northrop. My mentor, the man who helped me get an interview to get that internship, actually graduated from USC. So I definitely started seeing the power of the Trojan family here at USC quickly. And once I got to Northrop, it was great because during lunch I would go out to the gym, and I ended up meeting some guys who had formed a USC basketball team. And so it was 6 guys working at Northrop, had a team of Trojans, and they would play against anyone else. So the Trojan family definitely carries on throughout, and I met several people that graduated from USC at Northrop. Also, USC hosts career fairs. The Viterbi School of Engineering hosts career fairs, and you see all the big companies, Boeing, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, looking for USC Trojans, studying at Viterbi, because I'm sure they know, how well our professors prepare us for industry.
Definitely. Vlad, we're going to change up the pace here with a question coming at you. Is there anything that you would change about your experience at USC? And do you feel that USC has prepared you well, being a senior and being ready to look at jobs here?
So personally, I've thought about this a lot lately. Like Evan said, I'm a senior, so I don't think there is anything I would change about my experience at USC, because quite frankly, it all made me the person that I am, and it all helped me get to where I am right now. And where I am right now is really good because I have opportunities to go work in the industry, or I can go work, not well specifically within the industry. I could go work for Boeing, or like this, go intern back at SpaceX, or go to grad school and get my master's, or I could go get my PhD. And I don't know if I would have had that opportunity if I would have given up some of the opportunities, the good and the bad, that I've had at USC. Because while the good times were definitely really good times, I learned a lot from my mistakes, and I learned a lot from the not so good times at USC. But like I mentioned, I definitely feel like it's prepared me well. I feel like I've definitely felt the Trojan family networking at USC, and it's helped me get internships in the past, and it's also going towards the future. I think it's going to help me out once I'm in the industry or once I'm in the field of academia. Most importantly, I think that my interaction with the people here, the students and the professors, has helped guide me in the direction that I'm going right now. And I'm very thankful for that because it's, as you'll find out in any college you go to, it's not very clear what direction you are going in or even what direction you want to go to. So definitely hold on to those people.
All right, thanks, Vlad. So we're going to move on to the next question, and I'm sorry to anyone out there who wants more breadth in terms of the answers. We're going to try and keep moving through the questions so that we can hopefully answer all of them. And our next question is coming at us from Crystal, and Crystal asks, "What's the biggest piece of advice you would give to both high school seniors and college freshmen?" So, Kat, I'm going to hand this one off to you.
Okay, so Crystal, what I would say to you is just get involved with stuff because when you come to college, there's so much more than just like your schoolwork. Like part of your college experience is really getting to know people and getting to know the faculty, your professors, but also getting to know like the people that you have classes with, the people in your different organizations. And I just feel like that's a really big part of your college experience, and that's really critical for me. I love meeting people. I love getting involved, and I think it's really useful.
Cool. We're going to move on to the next question, and we've gotten this question a couple of times, so we're just going to head back to it. And the question is, do you think that you get to take enough liberal arts classes outside of engineering? So, Brenton, we haven't heard from you in a little while. What's been your experience with taking courses outside of Viterbi?
Sure thing. Yeah, classes outside of Viterbi, you have your core curriculum, your general education classes. I know you've probably heard that before. 6 classes that comprise the core of the USC. You also have your writing 140 and your writing 340 classes, and it's awesome. The liberal arts classes kind of diversify you in a little bit. I'm taking a history class right now on Chinese history, and the professor's awesome. He shows us videos at the beginning of each class, and it's nice to kind of have a change of pace. When you're caught up in engineering all the time, you're doing a lot of math, you're doing a lot of hard work, and using a different side of your brain is great sometimes.
Thanks, Brenton. We're going to move on to the next question, and that is, as engineers, have any of you studied abroad, and is learning another language necessary for that experience? So this one's coming at you, Kat.
Okay, so this summer I was fortunate enough to go to Madrid with the Viterbi Summer Overseas program. What I really liked about the program is that I didn't have to know another language because the USC professors go with us there to teach us courses. So that's great. 1, because you don't have to know another language, but 2, because you don't have to be worried that you're getting like the same material as everyone back at USC. I had a blast there. Also, I made some great friends, and we traveled around after the program. One of the places we went to was Rome, and I'm a classics minor. This kind of relates to the previous question, and we got to go to Rome, so I got to see a lot of the stuff that I have learned about in my classics classes as well. So that was my experience. I had a great time.
Yeah, and I can definitely attest to that because I was also fortunate enough to go to Madrid over the summer, and Kat basically summed it up perfectly. But it was an amazing experience, and while knowing some Spanish certainly helped, it wasn't necessary. But overall, just fun in terms of your study abroad experience. Claude, you there?
Oh, sorry, didn't hear you. My mic cut out or something. I didn't catch the last part. Um, could you repeat the question, Gavin? Oh, you just wanted my
Yeah, study
Okay,
abroad experiences.
gotcha, man. Thanks. Yeah, so I actually didn't have the chance to go study abroad for an entire summer or semester. Just that's how things worked out for me. But I was fortunate enough to take a class where at the end of the semester you go and work on a group project with students from a school in a different country. So we actually worked with students from China and Taiwan, and then all three schools traveled to Taiwan where we completed a group project together. And that wasn't studying abroad for months or whatever, but I still got to go and check out a different country for 2 weeks. So there's definitely that too. And I didn't have to know any other languages other than English. So
Cool experiences. We're gonna head on to another question, and this one we're gonna start off with you, Brenton, because the question is, what was it like coming from out of state and attending USC?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not gonna lie, it was a little bit intimidating at first. I applied actually and didn't even see the school. The first time I saw the school was actually during orientation, and I came here to LA. It was awesome at first, but a little bit daunting. New environment. I didn't know anyone on the West Coast, but it was a great time. It's really like a family here at USC, even though there's like 16,000 undergrads or something like that. Really, you meet so many people, and it's been the time of my life and still is. So it hasn't been that bad at all.
All right. And the question is, coming from the cornfields of Ohio, I'm eager to escape to LA. Is it easy to get a job in the city after graduating from Viterbi? So I'm gonna let this one go to Vlad because Vlad, you're the senior here.
So I successfully escaped the cornfields of Ohio and came to LA. And right now, graduating, I have the opportunity to stay in LA and work if I so choose it. For me, primarily that comes with the type of major that you're going to be pursuing. But I know that, like for me, I'm aerospace engineering, and there's a lot of defense and commercial spacecraft flight going on here with you have SpaceX, Boeing, Northrop, Lockheed, Raytheon, NASA, and that's just in aerospace engineering. I know that I have friends that were comp sci that are now staying here, friends that were BME and CE that are working locally. So I definitely think that if you want to escape the cornfields of Ohio and find a place to work in LA, it's definitely a possibility.
Thanks, Vlad. We're gonna move on now to a question from Cyber Guy iPhone, and he asks, for a computer science major, I heard it's many late nights coding. Any idea if managing theater, other activities is possible? Basically, is it possible to manage your time between engineering and other activities? And before I let Pedro answer this, I'm just gonna go ahead and say that if you after the live chat, if you missed the beginning, you can tune back in. We actually had 2 computer science majors for the first half of this live chat, and you can hear some of their responses. And basically, you'll find that they're involved in a lot of really different, really cool things. So definitely check that out. But I'm gonna let this go to Pedro.
Hey, thanks for asking, Cyber Guy. I'm actually not a computer science major. I'm a computer science minor, but I'm majoring in electrical engineering. So definitely balancing the two. It's a heavy workload. I'm actually taking my first computer science course right now, and I definitely haven't had many late nights, coding. definitely if going back to what I was saying about activities, if you see doing activities as an incentive to finish your work early, you'll appropriate your time, and maybe you'll wake up early one day and try to carve out some time to finish your work and then be involved. Yeah, because I'm involved with rugby and several clubs and community outreach. So sometimes those events, in order to avoid them conflicting with my workload, I go and I make sure I get my work done beforehand.
Thanks, Pedro. Kat, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, when you come to college, you're going to learn to manage your time really well. And I've only taken one programming course, but when I did, I found that what was useful for me was I would go to my professor or my TA's office hours and get help on my homework, and that would allow me to finish it a lot faster. And I'm someone who's involved in a ton of stuff on campus, so I found that just going and asking for help on your different assignments and even studying for exams in programming and in other subjects, that can really help you learn to manage your time and give you more time to do other activities.
All right, we're going to move on to another question here, and that question is from Timothy again. Does the engineering program help students get summer internships or summer jobs in their field of study? Brenton, I'm gonna let you handle this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Timothy. Actually, the Viterbi School has their own kind of Viterbi Career Center here, which will help you exactly with your engineering resumes, help you polish up for jobs, do mock interviews, everything like that. There's a Viterbi Career Conference once every semester, and as Pedro said, a lot of big companies are there, Fortune 500 companies. It's great to network and meet them. And definitely the Viterbi School here goes out of their way to help you get these internships. That's how I found my first 2 internships.
Thanks, Brenton. And our final question of the night, this is gonna be for everybody. I'm gonna let you guys just answer it in order here, and then I'll let you guys sign off after you've finished the question. This is gonna go Brenton, Kat, Pedro, Vlad, and the question is, once again, what made you want to become an engineer?
So definitely having a major that's rewarding, that I could work hard at. I worked hard a lot in high school, and I wanted a major that was going to challenge me. And then also, I know I mentioned this in another one of my questions earlier on, but combining engineering concepts to help humans and help the longevity of the human race with the healthcare industry, healthcare companies. I thought that would be a really rewarding field to go into and something that I would be satisfied in a job in the future. So that's why I wanted to do biomedical engineering. Bye, guys. Nice to talk to you.
All right, Kat.
Okay, so I went to an all-girls school, and they told us, like, if you can do math and science, like, you should go do one of the, the STEM majors. So I said, well, I'm good at math and science, and USC had a great engineering program, and I was like, oh, well, this is awesome. I actually really like this. Also, I just feel like with an engineering degree, you can go into so many different fields. You're not limiting yourself. You're keeping all your options open. So with that, good luck to everyone making all your college decisions, and email me if you have any questions.
All right, Pedro.
Again, so hey everyone, Pedro, and so definitely, enjoying math and science was what first had me research into engineering, and then I learned that once you're an engineer, you're a part of this worldwide society where you're working on findings of others and discovering your own just to improve society, improve living conditions for people, and I definitely felt that. Engineering would be a good challenge for me, and it has proven to be so far, but I wouldn't want to be in any other major. I also want to say that through engineering, I learned that it's going to teach me to be a problem solver. And back to what Kat was saying is, it's gonna teach you to be a problem solver, and you're going to be able to apply this in so many different fields, and you're going to have so many options. And yeah, so thanks for listening in. Follow us on Twitter. Go to viterbivoices.usc.edu. Read our blogs. And have a good one. Good luck with all your decisions.
Thanks, Pedro. Coming to you, Vlad.
Yeah, so going along with the theme of liking math and science, I've also just always liked to work with my hands. I've always liked to tinker, kind of problem solve. I was the kid that was doing Legos of battleships and helicopters when I was 5. And so for me, choosing engineering was pretty a no-brainer. And now, having actually, this is my last year of engineering, I'm very thankful that I did it because I've seen the ability of an engineer to make an impact, not just in your field of study, but in other aspects of life, being politics or business. So definitely with an engineering degree, you have a very dangerous weapon in helping the world and solving all of its problems. So definitely be an engineer, and I hope all you guys have the best of luck getting into the colleges you want to, but more importantly, coming into USC. And have a good night. Fight on.
All right. And my own answer to the question is basically similar to everyone else. I think an engineering degree is one of the most potent degrees you can have. I've considered going to law school, going to med school, doing all sorts of things, and really you can do anything with an undergraduate engineering degree. So I think it's a very valuable degree, very valuable experience. And with that, we're all signed off here on our end. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We're going to be having another live chat on November 25th, same time, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If we didn't answer your questions tonight, we apologize. Feel free to email those to us at viterbi.student.usc.edu, and we will try and get to those as quickly as possible. Or you can ask those in the next live chat on November 25th. So with that, we're going to sign off, but good luck with all the college apps, and fight on.